What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, Joker back again, once again. So I'm gonna do something a little dangerous here, and I'm gonna talk about the meta of Destiny 2. Now, this is one of those conversations that people will bitch at you for having, and I sort of expect to see an influx of abuse and hate because of it. See, in the Destiny community, unless your name is Dado, Triple Wreck, or MTash, this is a conversation you are not allowed to contribute to. You just need to shut the fuck up and accept the way things are. And even then, you will still get hate. Because at the end of the day, it's a very polarizing conversation. People have things they like. In Destiny 1, there was a real investment to getting the best in slot gear. Nothing is more heartbreaking than getting that one piece of loot you will think will make you a Crucible god, only to have it nerfed a week later. So any talk of nerfs or balance or weapon tuning, no matter how necessary it might be, is always met with gasp and shock and horror, followed by death threats and being told to go kill yourself. Because, let's face it, Bungie does have a horrible track record with balancing weapons. Thorn and Last Word are OP, nerf all the hand cannons. Matador 64's Wrecking Shop, nerf all the special weapons. Instead of just, nudging the dial in the right direction, they twist the fucker to 11 or 1, forgetting that there's an entire spectrum of numbers in between. Most of the nerfs have been uncalled for, in my opinion, when buffing something would have been way more appropriate. It's like I've said before and will likely say again, there will always be a best in slot weapon. Weapon diversity is an illusion. It'll never happen. Take two auto rifles of the same class and one will statistically be better because of its perks. That's just a matter of course. The damage control here is not, should there be a best weapon? That's moronic. There will always be a best weapon. No, the argument should be framed as, what weapon do we want as a community to be the best weapon? And how should players and other weapons be balanced around that weapon? That's going to be a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow, but it's true. Something will always rise to the top. Today we scream for nerfs to Mida, tomorrow it's Uriel's gift, then the prosecutor. When you open up a power vacuum, something will fill it. We saw this throughout all of Destiny 1. Take out Suros, and the Vex fills that role. Take out the Vex, and the Last Word fills that role. Take out the Last Word, and Thorn fills that role, and so on and so forth. The only consistent in Destiny is that there will always be a meta, and it will always be a mitigated mess of people using the cheapest and easiest ways to kill people as efficiently as possible. With that in mind, on the screen now should be a graph, and on this graph, it shows the Mida multi-tool so far ahead of any other weapon used during the Trials of Nine's first weekend that it's not even remotely funny. And people may look at this and think, this probably means Mida is OP, and something should be done about it. But take another look, O viewer mine. Mida is not the issue, it's the symptom. The Prosecutor was an auto rifle introduced to the Trials of Nine in its first weekend, and it climbed the chart to number 3. This weapon is theoretically rarer than something like Uriel's gift, and yet it has about 1 million more kills. Of the top 10 weapons, 6 of these weapons are fire and forget, spray and pray, low skill, high reward automatic weapons. There are only 2 scout rifles, 1 pulse rifle, no hand cannons, and 6 fully automatic weapons. 4 of these automatic weapons are energy weapons, which would pair nicely with the Mida multi-tool. Anyone that played Destiny 1 knows that the Mida was always good, but it was never the best. If we rank Destiny 1's weapons in a top 5 list from the first day of Destiny 1 to the last day of Destiny 1, the Mida multi-tool would consistently sit at number 5. It was a multi-tool. It was good at a lot of things, but it had issues. Key of which was the mid to close range engagements. It just couldn't cut it. Fast forward to Destiny 2 and what do we see? A Mida that has been freed from the weakness of mid to close range engagements. Oh sure, the Mida still has those weaknesses, but the player has transcended such trivial concepts. Automatic weapons are absolutely dominating the Crucible right now. Why would I get good with an objectively harder to use weapon like a hand cannon or a pulse rifle for that mid-range combat, when an automatic weapon will consistently give me the same results with a far, far lower entry of skill? Automatic weapons by nature are a crutch, and are part of the reason Destiny 2 is such a team fire-oriented game. The only real way to combat an automatic weapon meta is to find something that will keep players at range. and kill the player faster than they can sprint or blink or jump at you. Mida, being a medium damage, high rate of fire scout rifle, fills that role nicely. Unfortunately, we have automatic weapons as secondary weapons, and pairing the Mida with an AR like the Prosecutor gives the Mida users something that they can fall back on if they get dropped on in close quarters combat, which kinda breaks the balance of Mida. We also have to look at the fact that there's not a lot of good weapons in that primary slot. The vast majority of weapons in Destiny 2 seem to be energy weapons. So when you lack competition, you inherently create an environment at which the meta conforms to the best in slot weapon even quicker, and there's less room for trial and error. On top of that, this is the Mida, a weapon that functions nearly identical to its Destiny 1 counterpart. People are already good with this gun, they don't need to learn it. Mida throughout all of Destiny 1 was the gun you could fall back on when the meta shifted, because it was hardly ever touched, remaining consistent damn near till the end of Destiny 1's life cycle. Mida being brought back, although a fan favorite, was probably a huge mistake. It would be like bringing back Voidfang vestments in Destiny 1's iteration. In Destiny 1, Voidfang vestments were not bad, they just weren't all that great. Like with the Mida, there was always something better. In Destiny 2, with the changes to Warlock and the Devourer perk, Voidfang vestments would go from fun to OP. For those of you unfamiliar with Voidfang vestments' exotic perk allowed players to spawn with full grenade energy, and your Axiom Bolt grenade spawned additional Seekers. Even with grenades in Destiny being mostly nerf or nothing, for Void Warlock that would be huge. They would always have the ability to heal themselves by eating their grenade. Mida is in the same boat. In a game with two primaries, you can fix Mida's CQC issues. Just use a weapon that's appropriate for that range. But here's the issue. When we start talking about the games of buffs and nerfs, you either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. Nerf Mida and automatic weapons go unchallenged. Nerf automatic weapons, and because there's so much competition in the CQC category, things start to blend together even more. You start taking away the differences between the automatic rifles and the SMGs and the sidearms, which already blur together. Introduce a new Apex Predator and we might find that we have something worse than Mida. But then again, the Teamfire automatic weapon bullet wall isn't a meta that I think anyone's enjoying either. And it would only get worse with Mida multi-tool gone. Mida is literally the only thing stopping that meta. You could buff something like hand cannons, but then you'd be making a conscious effort to put the better Devil's class of hand cannon at the top of the meta. Something I'm okay with because hand cannons traditionally have a higher skill ceiling, but then you'd be making hand cannons a 3-shot kill. Pulse rifles might be the next best place to look, but the point is, something will always be top of the meta. The trick is to not fight it, the trick is to figure out what the least cheap and upsetting thing to get killed by is and balance towards that. Once you have that, you just wait for people to bitch about it because nobody will ever be happy and Destiny's meta will change once again. See, what fascinates me about Destiny 2 is it really is a nerfed version of Destiny 1. And this was done apparently to make everything in Destiny 2 more competitive and more balanced. But what did we lose? We lost any chance at all for class diversity. Most exotics are uninteresting and bland. There's no chasing that god roll weapon. No personal quest for that one weapon that, once you have, will make you a god in Crucible. At least you think it will, you hope it will. Once you have everything, that's it. Pack it up, pack it in. There's no real diversity in loot even, or any real necessity for it. Which is weird because Destiny is a looter shooter. Builds have essentially vanished because currently there's a right way to play the game and a wrong way to play the game. All of this was done in order to make Destiny a more balanced game. And yet, the meta revolves around low skill fire and forget auto rifles, because let's be honest, the Teamfire bullet walls are undeniably good. Yet, the choice to nerf what Destiny is, in the pursuit of balance, seems to run counterintuitive to a meta dominated by auto rifles. Something I would expect out of a Call of Duty game, not Destiny. And maybe that's the point, to make Destiny more like Call of Duty in nature. To appeal to that crowd so that Activision doesn't miss a beat when it comes to collecting that annual check. Me? I think the Crucible in general is a hot mess, but at least it's balanced around 1 or 2 guns that can be easily countered, and not something like Thorn or Last Word which melts you in less than a second. But like always, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, guardians of all ages, those are just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below, and like always, stay frosty. Maybe I should mention that I don't actually have a horse in this race because I absolutely hate the Mida multi-tool. It's the sound, it's like the Suros weapons. It's like somebody went out of their way to make the most annoying sound on a weapon. It's like somebody is flicking a tin can over and over and over and over every time you fire that weapon. It's so grating. It's so bad. I would love a meta where the Mida multi-tool or Suros weapons in general just were not a thing. So I don't have a horse in this race. Just throwing that out there.